Jonathan Ayache, welcome to Joburg today. A big pleasure to finally meet you. You are the General Manager for Uber South Africa, so we have plenty to talk about. To begin your journey, what inspired you to get involved with Uber?
Well, thanks for having me. The journey started for me in mid-2013. I was in the management consultancy field and this opportunity arose and I thought this is a very unique, interesting business. We haven't really seen stuff like this in South Africa before and I jumped at it. And it's been an unbelievable experience ever since. I work with some unbelievable people on something that we're very passionate about, which makes the work very meaningful. And I think that's the growth that we've seen in South Africa in Uber and how many people are using it both as driver partners and as riders is testament to that.
Mm-hmm. Did Uber have to adapt to the South African context to offer this service?
Yeah, I mean, Johannesburg was I think it was the first city in Africa to launch in August of 2013. And I mean, we'd operated in the US and parts of Europe, but something that, I mean, it's not exactly the same. You can't just take that model and plonk it in Johannesburg. So one of the challenges we had to face early on was smartphone usage was not as ubiquitous as it is today. And a lot of our driver partners had never used a smartphone, didn't know how to use the navigation or how to use the app. And we'd have to have like very, very detailed training sessions on how does the app work? How do you use navigation so that when you request a ride, the car actually arrives at your pickup location?
Sure. What would you say is inspiring about the manner in which Uber operates in Johannesburg?
I think for me, it is the passion and the commitment that our team shows. It's not a big team, and they're incredibly dedicated. And their focus is making sure that riders and drivers have an amazing experience, whether they're requesting a ride or whether you're a driver partner trying to sign up for the first time and you don't understand how it works, that you can move through the process as efficiently and as seamlessly as possible. So I think that for me is very rewarding and something we're really proud of.
Remind us about the driver-partner relationship you currently have that makes this a winning formula for you as a company.
So Uber is a technology company. So we develop an app and we connect riders with driver partners who can facilitate the trip. So driver partners are transportation providers, and many of the partners that we work with actually worked in the transport industry before. Sure. So what the app does is it provides them an opportunity to supplement their existing businesses and help them grow through the additional demand. So that's how we work. The driver partners own their own car and they run their own businesses. And the way we've seen it grow is that transportation industry, transportation operators are using it, but we're seeing other people as well starting to join and making use of this as an opportunity to create a new business and create jobs.
But as Uber, how do you regulate your relationship with the driver partners?
So driver partners sign up online, but there's a very stringent process that they need to go through before they can actually start driving. So before anyone actually takes a trip, every driver needs to sign up online, provide us with their professional driver's permit. In South Africa, they need to go through a driving evaluation, so their driving is actually tested in addition to us getting their license. All vehicles are inspected. We've got a partnership with DEKRA in South Africa, and vehicles are tested for roadworthiness. We check that they've got insurance, and the quality of the vehicle is monitored.
Well, you've certainly, as Uber, managed to fill a gap in the market quite successfully, but you have challenges. We've heard a lot from some of your partner drivers this year out protesting against security issues. Tell us a little about how management is dealing with their issues.
So we're always looking at ways that we can make the technology, use our technology to improve safety and make drivers feel safer while they're using the Uber app. So there's a few improvements that we've made off the back of our discussions with driver partners. So one of the things that they raised was that they there are times when they feel that cash is unsafe. And so there's a few things we've done. The first thing is we've put a cash indicator into the app. So drivers now know this is a cash trip or it isn't a cash trip. One of the things we found was that some drivers loved cash, other drivers didn't like it.
Okay.
And it's not about taking it away completely, it's about giving them the option. We're about choice.
Okay.
So that's the first feature. The second one that we rolled out was rider identification. So one of the things that drivers said was they wanted us to check cash riders specifically, and we use rider identification by linking their Facebook accounts. So before you can sign up and take a trip, your Facebook account is linked, and we can do certain checks on that to verify that this is a legitimate rider or not.
Mm-hmm. You face fierce opposition from the taxi industry. Tell us about your engagement with stakeholders to get out of this situation, because it seems as if it's ongoing now.
So I think if you take a step back, we've actually been engaging with the transportation industry almost since we launched. Many meter taxi operators actually use Uber already. So the stuff that we've seen
as a supplement to the income.
Exactly, because it's not about one or the other.
Sure.
Uber says if you want to continue to do your traditional meter taxi work, that's great. But in the quiet times, you can load the app and you can use that to supplement your earnings.
I suppose this is what disruption is all about.
Well, it really is about being able to have the best of both worlds. And if you want to continue to do the traditional meter taxi work or whatever existing transport work that you do, you actually can. This is just a bonus on top of that.
So where is the opposition coming from?
When we started doing this and started engaging with transportation operators and meter taxi operators, one of the big barriers that we found was vehicle quality. So we've said already that we do have quite high standards, and not everyone could afford to go and buy a car. One of the things that we did then was work on vehicle solutions, that's what we call it, where we actually partner with businesses who can provide finance and leasing solutions to operators who otherwise could not get a vehicle of that standard to operate on Uber. So one of the big ones that we launched in partnership with Westbank now makes it possible for anyone, no matter what car or whether you have a good credit record or bad credit record, you can get a car and use the Uber app.
You mentioned the new security features that you've included for cash payments. Do you think this will assist with concerns raised around some recent hijackings and attacks on Uber driver partners?
I think there's
Is this a good security feature?
I mean,
because this was a very strong concern raised by some of them.
So there's two things. There's actually three things. We've put in the cash indicator to give drivers the option. We've introduced rider identification, and I think the idea is that is going to help improve the safety from the perspective of riders coming onto the app for malicious intent. The third thing is we've actually introduced in Johannesburg the ability for drivers to share their trip with a loved one. So it again uses the technology to improve the safety. So now you're not on your own in the car.
Yeah.
Someone is able to track your whereabouts, and if something happens, you're seen by a loved one.
Okay, well, that's a bit reassuring.
Yeah.
How are you in a position to maintain your competitive advantage, or do you have a competitive advantage in terms of cost? You know, for consumers, that's always a priority.
I think what we try and focus on is offering the best service at a great price, and trying to just do the best that we can for riders and drivers, and focus less on like what other people are doing.
Sure.
And thereby, hopefully, if we do it well,
you'd be the choice.
Exactly.
Okay. On a very positive note, we're hearing about Uber Assist. Tell us more about this.
So Uber Assist is a product designed for people with mobility difficulties or disabilities, and it's really just to give them that extra helping hand when they're using Uber. So we found that a lot of people were using Uber anyway with disabilities, and we started chatting to them and finding out what has your experience been like, and where can we improve. And based on that feedback, we worked with a number of third-party organizations, like the Guide Dog Association, to develop a training program for our driver partners to sensitize them a bit more around what are the things that you can do to really help someone that is a little bit
more vulnerable because of disabilities.
when they're getting in the car. And it's as simple as, you know what, really helping them to the door.
That's very
when
encouraging.
when you're ending a trip, and also being aware that when an Uber Assist trip request comes in, you already know that this is someone who is going to need that extra helping hand, and I'm aware of that as I arrive. So you know what, I'm going to park as close to them as possible. I'll get out, I'll go to the door, I'll help them to the car, that kind of thing. So far, the feedback has been really great, and we're incorporating like additional feedback all the time to improve the product.